and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and CoffeeStream number 251. And it's Wednesday, so of course it's Wednesdays with Skep. How are you doing, Skep?
It's nice to be here. I'm doing fine. I hope you're feeling better. I know you were feeling a little under the weather yesterday.
Yeah, I'm still stuffy.
Yeah.
And I'm still coughing. But I'm doing okay. I needed, I was ready to go and stream yesterday. I was going to push through it. And then there was a problem that ended my stream on Monday that somehow I ended up muting myself in OBS and I couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me yesterday. So I went to just quit OBS and reopen it.
And but it opened with you muted? Is that what happened again?
Yes.
Okay.
So I went to quit OBS and my stupid, I got everything sorted out and I went to open Chrome again and just hit the, schedule the stream for the now time.
Sure.
So that I could go live again.
Yeah.
And with Chrome, you have to hold, on the Mac, you have to hold Command Q. And I held Q a little fraction of a second too long and it closed everything I just reopened. And I was like, oh, are you fucking serious? So between that...
That's God telling you something.
It was just like, you know what? I need to just go lay down. And so I put out the tweet that said, hey, spread this out. I just, between the tech issues and whatever, I need, the universe is telling me to rest. And I slept from about 12:30 until about 20 after 3.
Oh, wow.
And then I went, I need to go get Alex.
That'll mess up your night sleep. Getting that
much. It didn't. I went to bed at 10.
Oh, really? And you slept through the night?
I slept until 7.
Wow. Excellent. That's you must have needed it.
I did.
Your body's just putting itself back together. That's all. It's trying to battle whatever it's battling and getting that done. It's been a strange world we've been living in. One of the happy things I got to watch this morning was the launch of 3 astronauts from the Baikonur Cosmodrome.
Oh, cool.
And that was, I have this thing on to, send me an alert on YouTube from the Space Channel, whenever the live space event channel thing, whenever they have something on, and it said launches in an hour and a half. And I went, oh, yeah. And so a Russian cosmonaut, a guy from the United Arab Emirates, a quote astronaut, end quote. He's actually an F-16 pilot from their Air Force who went through some cosmonaut orientation training, not the full cosmonaut drill, but they have a space training thing that takes them through a few of the same things that a cosmonaut or an actual astronaut actually goes through. They don't refer to him as a crew member. They say that he is a space passenger.
I see.
Refer to him as a space passenger. So he will be up there for 8 days doing important United Arab Emirate experiments. And basically, United Arab Emirates wanted to have an astronaut, and they have lots and lots of money, and Russia says we can do a deal. We'll sell you a seat, and that's exactly what they did. So they sold him a seat, but he's not a space tourist. They were at great pains that he's a space passenger. So this is a new thing. Neither a space tourist nor a space passenger, because he's doing important experiments for the United Arab Emirates. So it was interesting. The Greek Orthodox priest who came out to bless them before they went up, he issues his blessing and then shakes holy water, and he sprinkles holy water on the brows of the cosmonaut, and of course the American, she takes it good naturedly, right? And he starts to turn toward the guy who's obviously
The
a
Arabic,
Muslim,
yeah.
and the guy just holds up his hands. No, don't you do that with that heathen shit with me.
I was gonna say they had an Orthodox priest come out to bless.
That happens every time.
No, I understand that, but I mean, they couldn't provide an imam for the other guy.
Well, no, this is Russia. It's done in
that's
Russia's
true.
way. The tradition, they're very superstitious and very traditional. So they all go through this pre-launch ritual, and that's part of the pre-launch ritual they do, and they do not vary from that.
Did y'all see Pelosi has announced retirement, says Irate Prostate? Do you mean by announcing her investigation into the impeachment proceedings?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean by announced her retirement there, Irate Prostate?
Yeah, I heard it will she will be in the position of House Speaker for 4 more years. So I don't think she's going to retire anytime soon. But she's unless she just did that.
Because I didn't see anything about that. I did see the video yesterday where she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna look into impeaching Trump now."
Yeah,
because Ukraine.
Let me just look real quick. Pelosi.
Oh, she announced that she's retiring in 2024. Says I right? Yeah.
Oh, 2024. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's like several years from now. That's what I heard about that too. But it's not it's not anything that is going to happen anytime soon, and that's a good thing because she's really kind of a secret weapon for the Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
She has not been capable. The youth of the Democrat Party are starting to they're getting to the point where they hate her. They'll start working against her, and they'll get significant pushback from the older Dems in the House, and it might keep them under check.
Yep.
At least for a little while. So we'll see what happens there. But let's see what else is happening in the way of the world. I'm seeing Cynical Lindsay in chat. Irate Prostate is there. Maddie is there. Anybody else?
Sora Luna.
Who has dared show their
Uzi
face? Uzi Q is there. Yeah. I was chatting
Blake
with
Hanley
earlier today. Blake, Mr. Goatman, and so there we got some listeners this morning. Nice to see you guys over in chat. I decided it might be fun. There's just been so much strange stuff, and I do have some serious stuff I want to talk to you about whatever this proroguing Parliament is. I don't even understand what that is.
So that happens a lot in Canada.
What is that? What does it even mean?
So
is it some sort of way of preparing them, of cooking the representatives, of eating them?
No, it's
Is it cannibalistic?
No,
it's not.
It's so right now in Canada. Right now, Parliament is dissolved because there's an election.
Okay.
And it's basically prorogation is basically the government is not governmenting right now.
Okay, so that means like adjourning and basically going home to their constituencies or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but to prorogue Parliament, this happens when Parliament's supposed to be in session, right? Because when Parliament's not in session, normally like a holiday or something.
Yeah.
That's not.
So it's when Parliament is supposed to be meeting, but they've been dismissed because they're bad. They've been
pretty
bad.
Much.
They've been bad, and
they've
Prime
fucked
Minister
up somewhere. They've fucked up somewhere. The Prime Minister has prorogued Parliament.
Okay, and can he do that?
In Britain, absolutely. The Queen can also do it, I believe.
Okay, because the Supreme Court ruled differently. They ruled against her ability to prorogue Parliament, or against her proroguing of Parliament.
That I could see, because they're trying to move away from the monarchy. So they've just left it up to the Prime Minister.
Right. But
in Canada, the Prime Minister can do it and the Governor General can do it. In fact, they have to go to the Governor General to ask permission to prorogue Parliament. And the Governor General is basically the Queen's messenger. But the Governor General is generally a Canadian person.
Okay. Well, I was reading this thing, this Conservative Party member of Parliament, and he this was yesterday morning in Britain. Yesterday morning, Tom Tugendhat or something. Anyway, a Conservative Party member of Parliament responds to news that the British Supreme Court has ruled that Prime Minister Boris Johnson's move to suspend Parliament was unconstitutional. The Supreme Court in the United Kingdom, and this was like day before yesterday, they made this ruling. The Supreme Court in the United Kingdom has made a dramatic decision. The court says that Prime Minister Boris Johnson broke the law when he attempted to suspend Parliament for weeks at a dramatic time. This is a big defeat for Johnson, the latest of many, but as he visits the United Nations in New York this week, he says he will go on. And
I don't see how that's not constitutional, though.
Well, Boris Johnson, Bojo says, obviously, this is a verdict that we will respect, and we respect the judicial process, even though I hope to spit on their graves soon. I have to say that I strongly disagree with what the justices have found. I don't think that it's right, but we will go ahead, of course, and Parliament will come back. I do think there's a good case for getting on with the Queen's speech anyway, and we'll do that.
I don't see how proroguing Parliament is unconstitutional, though.
Yes.
If it's not working and nothing's getting done.
I'm trying to find if I can find something. Let's see.
All this talk of proroguing is making me want pierogies.
Exactly.
Senator Lindsay.
That's what I was thinking. Wouldn't this be a good time, if you're talking about dissolving Parliament, to dissolve politicians, actually physically dissolve them into nothing, or cook them into delicious food? I'm just spitballing ideas here. It'd be better than having them vote and tax.
That's true.
Things that they normally do. I'm done with politicians. Can you tell?
Anyway,
the UK Supreme Court has ruled unanimously that the suspension of Parliament was recently orchestrated by Boris Johnson was illegal. Speaker John Bercow says that the House of Commons will convene on Wednesday. That's today. Speaking to journalists outside Parliament after the ruling, Bercow said the court's ruling was explicit and clear. He was careful to say there will not be a recall of lawmakers, but instead a resumption of the session, because the court had already nullified the suspension.
Right.
Reading the decision of the court, Senior Judge Brenda Hales said the suspension was unlawful because it had the effect of frustrating or preventing the ability of Parliament to carry out its constitutional functions without reasonable justification. Reasonable as far as she was concerned. Lady Hale's summary of the ruling said the order to prorogue Parliament is unlawful, void, and of no effect, and should be quashed. Jeremy Corbyn, who leads the opposition Labour Party, said the ruling demonstrates a contempt for democracy and an abuse of power by Johnson. Corbyn joined others in calling for Johnson to hang himself publicly. I invite Boris Johnson, in historic words, to consider his position, coat himself with gasoline, and immolate himself, Corbyn said. In late August, Johnson asked Queen Elizabeth II to suspend Parliament for 5 weeks, meaning it would convene just weeks before Britain's scheduled departure from the European Union on October 31st. The move was widely seen as a ploy to make it difficult for Parliament to block Johnson's desire for a no-deal Brexit. That's what this is really all about, isn't it? And so the Supreme Court basically says, no, we want Parliament to be in there and to be able to foil you exiting the EU.
Yeah.
And so the UK Supreme Court was ruling on two competing appeals, one by businesswoman and anti-Brexit activist Gina Miller, who has the brain of a hamster, whose initial claim of unlawfulness was rejected by the High Court of England and Wales, and another by Johnson's government, which lost a case filed by Member of Parliament Joanne Cherry and other lawmakers in Scotland's Court of Session. God, that's got to be a treat. Scotland's Court of Session. Jesus. Full of intellectuals. In the statement about the ruling, Miller said that it confirms that we are a nation governed by the rule of laws and that we should get to do what the hell we want to do and fuck Bojo. Yep. Cherry said that she is absolutely delighted by the finding in her favor and hopes that Boris Johnson can be burned publicly soon.
Well, who wouldn't be delighted by a finding in their favor?
Exactly.
That always drives me kind of crazy when journalists add that into any article about somebody winning a court case.
Yeah, you know what the really sad thing is about this? What is really tragic about this is that when the royal commissioners walked into the House of Lords, it was as if they walked in with a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah.
The prorogation was also void and of no effect. Parliament has not been prorogued. This is unanimous judgment of all 11 justices. And what that means is that they are doing what our Supreme Court has done. They are seizing power, essentially.
Yeah.
And power was put in front of them and said, you can either seize it or you can let the discretion remain with the lawmakers. And they said, nope, the lawmakers aren't smart enough. We will make the decisions.
And, give us the one ring. Here, we'll take it.
They're Denethor.
Yeah.
They're Denethor. And Boris Johnson is a very shaky Frodo. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, he's not even a good Frodo.
Frodo wasn't a good Frodo. He needed Samwise.
Exactly. Sam was the best Frodo of all of them, actually, if you want to know the truth.
I got into such a heated argument with my dad over that because he was like, Sam's a bitch. And I'm like, fuck you. Sam was the whole reason the ring got into frickin'...
Sam is the hero of the book.
And Dad's like, Sam cried too much. I'm like, wouldn't you cry? Out of sheer frustration? If you were Sam? And he was like, no, I'd throw Frodo down the mountain.
Sam was J.R.R. Tolkien in World War I.
Yeah.
In case you want to know.
Yeah. You can tell.
Very much so. And he poured his heart into the character of Sam. And it's a beautiful character. I can't believe your dad cried too much. Really? Okay. Anyway, I don't get that. What? Hang on one quick second.
Maybe it was Sean Astin's portrayal of Sam he didn't like, which I don't get.
Well, yeah, I thought it was a masterful portrayal. I'll tell you that right now. I thought he did a good job. Not perfect, but a good job. Hang on one second.
No worries.
I have to. There we go.
Hello, Six.
I had to switch headphones. And
the ones who should be dragged out into the street and tarred and feathered are the ones preventing Brexit from happening, says cynical Lindsay.
Well, she's not wrong. You know, Lindsay's not wrong. These guys are just the biggest bunch of unhung scoundrels you've ever seen. They are a bunch of snooty London. The Remainers are not the working people. They're not the people who get hurt by being a part of the EU. They're not the ones whose rights are curtailed.
Absolutely
They're the ones who don't have to worry because they have plenty of money and they can do an end run around all the unpleasantness that being in the EU involves. Not so for the working man and woman. They have to deal with that shit. And it's intrusive. It impinges on their freedoms, on their lives every day. They feel it all the time and they want to throw that shit off. And these assholes like Corbyn will not let them. And it is absolutely sickening. So anyway, I just wanted to bring up that had happened. I thought it was weird.
So
and awful.
Since I wasn't able to do a stream yesterday, do you think you could enlighten us if you jump into the Discord server?
Yeah.
And grab your story about the explosion in the Russian
explosion
smallpox?
in the Russian, right? Okay. Well, while I'm doing that, I'll actually give you a little bit of background of what I know without looking at that, which is that particular laboratory, of course, is Gunfox littered it, the thing. I can't possibly find it again. I may have to go find it.
I have it in my DMs. I can send it to you.
No, that's all right. Okay. I can get it out of your DMs too. I think I sent it to you. There it is. All right.
Oh, Ghost Dog. I missed the notification for your $5 donation to the GoFundMe on Sunday night, and now that you're in chat, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that.
Ghost Dog. Thank you. Good job, man. Explosion and fire break out at Russian lab known for housing deadly smallpox virus.
That's two just labs. Amazing.
Smallpox was eradicated in, I think, 1997 in the world, as it was listed as eradicated. And two samples of smallpox virus are kept, one in the United States and one at this laboratory. And they had explosion.
Oh, good.
An explosion has caused a fire at a Russian biological research facility that's one of only two centers in the world known for housing samples of the smallpox virus. The blast occurred Monday during repair work of the sanitary inspection room at the Russian State Center for Research on Virology and Biotechnology, known as Vector, near the Russian city of Unpronounceable in Siberia. One worker was injured in the incident and is being treated in intensive care for burns, Russia's TASS news agency reported. In its statement, Vector said no biohazard material was being stored in the room where the explosion took place. The city's mayor also insisted that the incident does not pose any biological or any other threat to the local population. According to TASS, he then fell over and died of smallpox. The fire broke out when a gas cylinder exploded on the 5th floor of a 6-story laboratory building in the city of Unpronounceable. The blast caused windows to smash, but there is no structural damage to the building, so forth and so on. Founded in 1974, the Center for Virology and Biotechnology was once known for developing biological weapons. During the Cold War, it is now one of the world's largest research centers for developing vaccines and tools for diagnosing and treating infectious diseases. The head of the Unpronounceable Science City, where Vector is located, told Russian state news agency RIA Unpronounceable that there was no biological threat. Scientists at the center are developing vaccines for swine flu, HIV, Ebola. In February, scientists there wrapped up clinical trials of an Ebola vaccine, according to TASS. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is the only other center in the world approved, known to have live samples of the deadly smallpox virus.
And why do we keep samples of those?
Because it's cool. It's because it's fun. So we can mess with it.
I was going to say, why would we keep a sample of something we've eradicated?
In case we haven't really eradicated, so we can quickly put vaccines together, because you got to have that to make vaccines.
That's a good point.
Last year, the Food and Drug Administration announced its approval of the first drug to treat smallpox. The contagious disease was eradicated in 1980 thanks to vaccination efforts. But there are concerns that could be used in a bioterror attack. It says it was eradicated in 1980. I think that was a false eradication and that there was an outbreak after that. I'm pretty sure you can find information about that. And it was in the 90s that they finally said, okay, really for sure it is. But it's like they went back and forth as to whether or not it was really a
how can you make sure it's eradicated in places like that, like in third world countries?
You can't. That's the point. You can't really. They declare that because that's made for public consumption. That's to keep the natives
from being restless.
Yeah, from being restless, to keep them tractable and drinking their waterborne Xanax. Viruses are fragile, and more than 100 degrees will kill them. Let's see, under certain circumstances, explosion could spread the virus. Part of the wave of the force explosion could carry it away from the site, but as they said, there was no virus. There were no samples of the virus anywhere near where the explosion was.
Well, that's good.
So it's kind of a big nothing burger. It was something dangerous that happened at a very dangerous place, but nothing came of it. So that's
a good thing.
Yeah.
We like potential for danger, but no danger.
Exactly. That's a happy danger right there. As opposed to a Florida couple. This is a fun news item. Okay, the Florida couple have both been arrested for DUI. Okay, so the guy's driving. He gets arrested for DUI. She's so streperous. She gets arrested for public intoxication and creating a nuisance, right? And so the patrolman's got them handcuffed like together in the back of a locked squad car.
Oh,
right?
Great.
Now, doesn't that put you in the mood for love?
Oh, yeah.
You take off your clothes and start getting it on, don't you?
Somehow you get your clothes off.
In Florida, you do. In Florida, you do.
I guess Floridians are super flexible. I don't know. Like, you're handcuffed together, but somehow you manage to get into a position where you can...
Although they were handcuffed in the back of Patrolman Hunter's police car, they apparently didn't let that minor detail stop them from appreciating the romance of the moment. According to the police report obtained by the local paper, Hunter was outside the car when both Thomas and Monderano took their clothes off and started to have sex. The officer said that when he opened the door to stop them, Thomas was naked and Mondanero, the woman, had her pants down where her hoo-ha was visible. I substituted a word there.
Yeah.
I also observed that her bra was halfway off and her hooters were fully visible. After Hunter had removed a naked Thomas from the car, the guy knocked the deputy to the ground and ran away before being arrested partially naked at a Cold Stone Creamery down the road, according to Jacksonville station WJAX TV.
That's totally what you do. You fuck your lady in the back of a police car. You get interrupted. You go get interrupted, so you punch out the deputy and you just go and get some ice cream while you're naked. And
in Florida, that's standard operating procedure.
That's amazing.
Mondanero, who allegedly became violent and started kicking the deputy, was forced to the ground and suffered abrasions on her face, and she looks nasty. One thing, she has a face that screams, "I do meth, and I do it a lot." Mondanero has been charged with DUI, exposing sex organs, committing an unnatural and lascivious act, and resisting arrest. Thomas was charged with threat against a public official, committing an unnatural and lascivious act, exposing sex organs, and a DUI. And they are both currently behind bars in Florida.
Hopefully not sharing a cell.
Yeah, they both have lengthy rap sheets. And
I'm surprised. I am very surprised.
That has nothing to do with music. So there you go. I thought you would appreciate that interesting bit of
that's
weird news.
Just funny.
But that wasn't the major weird news. The major weird news that I had was: are you familiar with the 2000 or with the Ig Nobel Awards? Ig Nobel Awards. They honored the weirdest science discoveries of the year. They're kind of fun, actually.
I'm not.
Would you like to hear about this year's winners? 2019 winners.
Sounds fun.
This year's winners included Dutch and Turkish researchers who figured out which nation has the yuckiest money, and an Italian scientist who urges consumption of pizza for its health benefits. Let's see.
The States, right?
Yes, the article goes, training surgeons is as easy as training dolphins or dogs, at least according to a study that Thursday earned a 2019 Ig Nobel, the annual Nobel Prize spoof that rewards weird, odd, and sometimes head scratching scientific discoveries.
Huh.
This year's winners included Dutch and Turkish researchers who figured out which nation has the yuckiest money. The Italian guy who wants people to eat pizza for the health benefits, and one of my favorites, an Iranian engineer who obtained a U.S. patent for a diaper changing machine.
Oh boy.
Yes, indeed. Trust your baby to that. Karen Pryor, Teresa McKeon, and Dr. I. Martin Levy figured out that a common technique used for training animals called operant learning or clicker learning can be used to make better surgeons. In short, a mechanical device that emits an audible click is used to reinforce positive behavior. It's not quite the same as giving a doctor a treat and a pat on the head, but it still works, said Pryor, a scientist, writer, and animal trainer who has been using the technique for decades.
Why am I picturing a doctor in like a brain surgeon wearing like a harness and leash?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like operating or practicing on a cadaver.
Or being thrown
And they do
a sardine every once in a while.
And they do something good, so they get a,
Exactly. Traditionally, experienced surgeons will train the younger surgeons, and they make it quite hard, which leads to tension and fear of failure, she said. With our method, they learned to use the tools with great confidence and calmness and turned into calm, pleasant, serene people, unlike every single fucking doctor I've ever known. That's just about true, by the way. And I've known hundreds of them. There's a reason for that. The study, published in 2015 by the journal Clinical Orthopedics and Related Research, found the surgeon trained using the clicker method performed surgical procedures with better precision. So I think that's interesting. Let's see.
Pavlov's surgeon.
The winners received. This is really significant. 10 trillion Zimbabwean dollars. Okay, which is worth less than 1 cent. And each was given 1 minute to deliver an acceptance speech enforced by an 8-year-old girl whining, "Please stop, I'm bored. Please stop, I'm bored," all the way through the speech. I love the Ig Nobels. This year's shenanigans also included a tribute to Nobel Prize winning physicist Roy Globner, known for his humbleness and sense of humor, who for years attended the Ig Nobel ceremony and always helped sweep up afterwards. He died in December at age 93.
Please stop. I'm bored. That's awesome.
Andreas Voss and his colleagues found that germaphobes might want to avoid Romanian banknotes.
Oh,
That's
really?
right. Romanian banknotes. Their studies concluded that 3 types of drug-resistant bacteria clung the longest to Romanian money when compared to several other international currencies, including the euro, US, and Canadian dollars, and Indian rupees. Romanians shouldn't take offense at having the dirtiest money, though. The researchers said Romanian banknotes include a polymer fiber to discourage counterfeiting and improve durability, which allows the growth and transmission of drug-resistant pathogens.
Okay.
So there you go.
See, I thought it would be the U.S., but the U.S. has... I read somewhere that the U.S. has cocaine on most of its money.
It does. It
like
actually has
98% of
measurable
its money has cocaine on it.
Because it's touched other money. That has to do more with the sensitivity of the cocaine tests than it does anything else.
That's true.
And cocaine is it's anyway. It's
U.S. money does feel grubby though.
Oh, it's nasty. It's absolutely nasty. We did it in one of my bacteriology courses in college. We pressed the corner of money down on an agar plate and a petri dish that's used for growing bacterial cultures, and we grew stuff like gangrene, and plague and all kinds of stuff that
Okay.
came up. Just nasty shit. I don't know about plague, but it was
Just lots of
pneumonia. Yeah,
grossness.
streptococcus pneumonia, uh, uh, pseudomonas, all the nasty pathogenic aerobic bacteria. They all cling to our money.
Oh, good.
Um, and then Silvano Gallus won an Ig Nobel for his research that found yes, pizza is actually good for you.
Well, if you think about it,
Well, maybe just pizza that's made and consumed in Italy. We found that pizza consumption in Italy was protective for many chronic diseases that are known to be influenced by diet, digestive tract cancers, and infarction. And that has nothing to do with farting. That has to do with blockage. Gallus said, head of Laboratory of Lifestyle Epidemiology at the absolutely unpronounceable bunch of Italian words in Milan, Italy, said in an email. He noted that many pizza ingredients are associated with the Mediterranean diet, which has known health benefits. So there you go.
well, if you think about it, it's probably because a lot of pizza in Italy is handmade with fresher
It's made with fresh
ingredients.
not processed crap.
It's not a preserved pizza that's been frozen.
It's full of sodium.
That's full.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
and even pizza that you buy in a pizza store here
Yeah.
is not made the same way.
There are a lot of myths about pizza. Let me take just a few moments to dispel a few. Do you have any Italian blood in you?
I do not.
Okay, well, so I'll represent my country here, even though ancestry says I don't have any Italian blood in me, even though I come from generations of Italian people living up in the foothills of
All right then.
Italy. It says I'm Sardinian, oddly enough, but pizza in Italy, first of all, is made with fresh cheese, fresh tomatoes, and or tomatoes, and they're baked uh, on a wonderful bread that you just about cannot get here. We get this greasy bread here. It doesn't taste like that there. It's a different dish, and it's wonderful. The you don't have all the salt.
Yeah.
People in Italy can't believe the amount of salt that people eat in the United States. When I went to Italy, when I vacationed in Italy, you never see salt on the restaurant tables.
Right. Okay.
I mean, it's almost insulting, to ask for it and put it on. And people don't. People just don't have salt on the table in restaurants. That's true in France too. True in France and Belgium also. They just don't do that. So it's a little bit different than eating pizza in the United States. So it might actually be good for you. I guess it could be good for you. I don't know. Anyway, just a little bit of news of the strange that's kind of the fun kind. The Ig Nobels.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting thing they were talking about that the guy who died when he was 93, who had supported the Ig Nobels for a long time. I was on the phone yesterday with Prospero, and I was talking about my friend from high school. I was certainly Tim's best friend. I don't know if he was my best friend. He was certainly a very close friend.
Right.
One of my two best friends in high school. And I was telling how he came to be the first chief scientist at Nobel. At Intel.
Oh,
Not
Intel.
Nobel. Yeah, Intel. The chip. When that company was just
Processor
forming up.
company.
Yeah, he helped form that company.
Cool.
Yeah, Tim was very rich. he
and very smart, apparently.
He was very smart. Tim was an amazing guy, and he studied physics at University of California at a special college that was created just for geniuses. He was one of 40 people in Malcolm Muggeridge's College for Creative Inquiry, which was a special part of UC Santa Barbara. He had been accepted to MIT, to Caltech, and full boat ride out of high school, and went to UC Santa Barbara because of this special group of people, and he became good friends with famous physicists. And he became a famous physicist in his own right. He was the one who discovered that the ceramics being used in the early chips were what was causing them to fail.
Oh.
They were alpha emitters, and he proved that with a smoke detector. With smoke detectors he bought down at the hardware store.
Oh, cool.
He actually told me the story of how he did it. I was out in California for a consulting thing. He met me in Berkeley, and we spent the evening together. He told me the story. And he got a big award from International Engineering Society.
That's awesome.
Was very famous. Of course, he wrote the Ciphernomicon, Cryptonomicon, I guess, manifesto. And so I'm sitting there telling Prospero about this guy, and I said, let me Google him. And there's a death date.
Oh, no.
And he died. And I had, I'd kind of lost track of hadn't emailed him or talked to him for a couple of years. And he died in December. He died December 13th, 8 days before his birthday.
Oh.
And, the first thing I thought, God, 66 years old is young to die.
Yeah.
So that felt very young to die at. And, I remembered that, his father had two brothers who died very, very young from heart attacks. I'm sure, and they said it was at home, it was natural causes, it was unexpected.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was just sitting there and, the big one hit him and that was it. But he was, it was interesting. The New York Times did an obit on him. And I thought I would, not going to read the whole thing, but I thought I would, Timothy C. May, early advocate of internet privacy, dies at 66. Timothy C. May, physicist, polemicist, and cantankerous advocate of internet privacy who helped start a movement aimed at protecting the privacy of individuals online, died December 13th at his home in Corralitos, California. He was 66. As the rabble-rousing leader of a group called Cypherpunks, Mr. May, in his writings, foreshadowed and influenced many of the concerns about privacy and government control that have come to dominate the internet age. In the one-page Crypto Anarchist Manifesto, which I urge everyone to go read, it's online. It's one of those hallowed things. You're not really online unless you've read this.
Right.
In the one-page Crypto Anarchist Manifesto, which he wrote in 1988, Mr. May said, just as the technology of printing altered and reduced the power of medieval guilds and social power structures, so too will cryptologic methods fundamentally alter the nature of corporations and of government interference in economic transactions. And then, he devoted a lot of time to let anybody else just, look up Timothy Christopher May, that was his name. And can go read that in the New York Times. He was quite a guy, worth reading about. He was the one who he devised cryptocurrency back in 1968. We used to walk around the neighborhood, and he said, "Imagine that there was a currency that had a code on it, and you could only activate that currency." He said, "I don't even know how it would work, but you could only cash that currency if you had the corresponding code. And it would have to be something where you could get that code to a lot of people very quickly." He was beginning to hatch the idea, basically, of Bitcoin. And he's a fascinating person, absolutely fascinating person. One of the most obstreperous people. You had to be very patient to be his friend. You had to really just let Tim be Tim, and understand that in Tim's world, you get to co-star in his movie. He's never going to co-star in your movie. And that eventually led to periodically I just had to go off and do my own thing for him. Yeah, I had to be away from him because he tended to accumulate very smart people who just orbited around him and just worshipped him. And I didn't want to be that person. So, but he certainly, and some of those people are very powerful and influential people themselves.
Yeah.
So anyway, but
all right. No, I think it just might be you because I can hear Skep just fine, and I just checked on the watch page and he's coming through.
Yes, I checked on the watch page too. We're both coming through fine. So, and one thing I will pass on about that is I played Timothy Christopher May 12 chess games before he quit playing with me. I beat him 11 times and he got 1 draw from me.
Oh.
Just so everybody knows.
Oh my goodness. Are you okay if we only go until 1 o'clock?
Sure.
My voice is gonna give out.
Oh, okay.
My chest hurts a bit.
No. In fact, we can knock it down right now. There's no reason for you to go on if you're feeling bad. Seriously, you're allowed to take a sick day, and the thing is, if you rest your voice now, don't make the extra effort to go for 15 more minutes. Rest now. Take it easy. Get some sleep.
All right.
You'll be better tomorrow and Friday. And Friday, you've got Lindsay coming in. Is that it?
It's call-in day on Friday.
Oh, it's call-in day. Okay.
Because it's the last Friday of the month.
Oh, that's right.
And then next week is Lindsay.
Next week is Lindsay. Okay, very good. That'll be some fun. So we will have big fun then. Look, guys, just understand we're human beings. We get sicknesses and things like that, and sometimes we just need to take a day off to take a little time away. Yeah, and you gave it a good shot. I'm proud of you for doing it. If you can't make it on tonight, I'll certainly understand. If you're feeling better, just let me know. Okay,
send me the link just in case.
I'll send you the link. I've only got 6 places, so if you can, kind of let me know how you're feeling, so I can assess.
All right.
And make offers accordingly. Because if you're,
good.
But the important thing is that you take care of yourself, because one thing about being a parent, you're not just living for yourself.
Yeah, that's true. And we've got a lot of running around to do tonight after Pincalo's done work. So
absolutely. So get some rest, guys. Join me on Minions tonight. Will be 10:30 Central Time, 11:30 Eastern Time on the Minions of the Zoo channel. It will be me, possibly Blind Press, certainly Prospero, and some of the usual contenders, and see who I can roust up and cajole into spending an hour and a half with me this evening. But thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you
and
so
Blind
much.
Press is going to go chill for a while and get herself back together.
All right.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.